At 2 a.m., I received a call from Chloe Miller demanding I deliver fried noodles to her new boyfriend. After I agreed, laughter erupted on the other end of the line. "Ethan Carter, you really are the most pathetic lapdog." What she didn't know was that I was her mother's paid companion today, was my last day on the job. One Chloe Miller specifically ordered the 35 Deluxe fried noodle from Westwood Boulevard, located about 30 miles from my place. I knew they weren't genuinely hungry 6 out of 7 nights a week. They'd stay up calling me with random demands that had to be delivered immediately. The worst was when she claimed she couldn't breathe and needed 2 oxygen tanks. Clueless about medical supplies, I drove halfway across the city that night, searching for what she wanted. Of course, it was all for nothing. When I rushed to her house planning to take her to the hospital, I learned she'd just been playing truth or dare, betting on whether I'd fall for it. She never cared whether I had classes the next day, whether I'd be late and scolded by professors. She only wanted to prove how desirable she was, that she even had an unconditional admirer who'd come and go at her beck and call. I silently repeated to myself 3 times, "It's just work, it's for the money," then quietly ordered the nearest takeout, tore off the receipt label, fished out 2 leftover shrimp from dinner in the fridge, and shuffled my way toward the Miller residence. A torrential rain poured outside. I stood at the doorway, folding my umbrella, deliberately letting myself get drenched for a while to appear more disheveled. Only then would Chloe Miller be pleased when she saw me. She deliberately uses difficult conditions to test how much others can tolerate her. Mrs. Miller was the one who opened the door, her face grim, letting out a faint sigh when she saw me. "Ethan, you've really had a tough time." I rubbed my red and frozen face and smiled sincerely. "No problem, Annie. Just remember to pay the final installment." She is my golden goose, so, of course, I have to treat her well. Mrs. Miller nodded, pulled me aside, and spoke in a hushed tone. "There's $1 million in this card. You should go home and rest now. I'll tell her you went abroad." I just want to make her more cheerful at first, but I never expected. The rest of her words were swallowed back, because Chloe Miller and her current boyfriend Jack Anderson had already descended the stairs looking at me with mocking expressions. "Bro, you're just too pathetic. Oh, I almost forgot you're a lapdog, a drown rat, anything. But human, what dignity could you possibly have?" After saying this, the two burst into laughter. Jack Anderson glanced at me and continued speaking. "From Nishiki Street, right? My Chloe pampers me. She wants the best and most expensive seafood fried noodles." I nodded and handed over the fried noodles. Chloe Miller smiled as she went upstairs, teasing the people in the room. "I told you if I ask, he'd come, even if it were hailing." There seemed to be quite a few people in the room. I heard a clear, melodious female voice ask her, "Chloe Miller, you're being too cruel. What's there to be afraid of? As long as he gets to see me, Ethan Carter should be grateful, shouldn't he? A lapdog is meant to be ordered around, isn't it?" I sneered, said goodbye to Mrs. Miller, and left. Actually, Chloe Miller wasn't like this in the beginning. As a child, she was abused by her nanny, force-fed greasy food, while having her mouth pinched shut, locked in rooms, and verbally assaulted. By the time the Millers noticed, she had already become a withdrawn, overweight little girl. By her mid-teens, she weighed nearly 200 pounds, which had severely impacted her health. High society is inherently cruel, and Chloe Miller faced constant ridicule within their circles. She would frequently run off alone, leaving her family to search for her across the city. Until one night, during my evening jog, I spotted Chloe Miller by the riverbank, taking step after deliberate step into the water. The autumn river water was icy cold and murky. After I rescued her and brought her home, Chloe Miller clung to me completely from that day onward. When I played basketball, she would watch from nearby. When I got accepted into my current university, she followed me there the very next year. I felt helpless about this little shadow of mine, yet deep down, I pitied her terribly. Who would choose such a method of suicide unless they were truly desperate? I was just a teenager then, at that age, when sympathy overflows, so I silently allowed her to get close. Back then, I genuinely considered her a friend and truly hoped she would recover soon. Who knew she would push her luck, spreading rumors everywhere that I liked her, claiming my serious girlfriend was just a second-choice substitute. Because I couldn't have her, before I even got to hold her hand, I got dumped. Then Mrs. Miller appeared. She told me I was very important to Chloe Miller, that Chloe had cried for days after learning about my relationship, and offered me $2 million. All she asked was that I fulfill Chloe's every wish and help restore her confidence. $2 million, surely one can't prioritize dignity and reputation over money, right? After that, I was at Chloe Miller's beck and call, accompanying her for workouts and weight loss, constantly motivating and praising her. I successfully made Chloe Miller change her attitude towards me. She gained admirers and followers, gradually becoming arrogant, even saying I was the most insignificant among all her pursuers. To prove this point, she summoned me to deliver condoms every time she got a new boyfriend. Each time I arrived, she'd proudly show me off to her latest fling. Though I could never remember any of their names, I still put on a wounded expression, mostly from exhaustion. Mrs. Miller, feeling guilty, would compensate me with tens of thousands in bonuses, which slightly eased my resentment toward these night shifts. Anyway, I don't like Chloe Miller, and all the more she focuses on other men the better. I only resent those fleeting men for being so incompetent, not a single one capable of capturing Miss Miller's heart. At least I can finally break free from her and start a brand new life with the 2-1 million Mrs. Miller gave me. In a daze, I received a call saying Chloe Miller was drunk and asking me to pick her up. Go find a Miller family S driver or her boyfriend. Don't come to me about Chloe Miller S business ever again. After saying that I turned off my phone directly when I woke up again, there were 99 unread messages on WhatsApp, 45 of which were from Chloe Miller. Most of the rest were concerned inquiries from various people. Bro, you finally stopped simping for Chloe Miller. Congratulations. Ha ha ha, you turned off your phone yesterday and Chloe Miller went crazy at the bar. I recorded the whole thing. I'll show you next time. Ethan Carter, are you even human? Chloe Miller is still a girl. How could you not pick her up? Weren't you afraid something might happen to her? My fingers paused and I replied directly, really the bar is that dangerous? Then why did she even go? If she wants thrills, why not feed tigers at the zoo? Her own boyfriend wouldn't he pick her up? Why should I? Am I Rambo or something? Then I blocked both the person who said that and Chloe Miller. Even if Mrs. Miller comes looking to renew the contract, now I won't agree to it anymore. That girl is too much a drama queen now that I've got money. I'm done catering to her whims. 3. With that money, I opened a studio in the tech park. Fresh graduates gathered together with boundless energy, quickly pushing the software into its testing phase. It received rave reviews from beta testers across major platforms and was poised for official launch. Yet at this critical juncture, Chloe Miller took her own life. Her friends publicly denounced me online by name branding me as an emotional manipulator who abruptly dumped Chloe Miller and immediately jumped into a new relationship with another girl. The collateral damage was our Studio's operations staffer, someone who merely gone out to eat with me a few times, now falsely portrayed as the morally questionable other woman in their rumors. I had signed a confidentiality agreement with Mrs. Miller back then, so I had no choice but to call her to ask about disclosing the transaction. But when she answered the phone, she turned around and berated me instead. Ethan, Chloe may be a bit willful, but Haven T, I treated you well. How could you block her and leave her alone at the bar? Now Chloe refuses to eat or drink, and she even slit her wrists when we weren't home. You're so heartless. Her words made me roll my eyes. At first I thought Mrs. Miller was normal, but turns out moral blackmail runs in the family. I immediately lost interest in asking further and countered. Ms. Miller, are you saying these $2 million are meant to buy out my entire life? She went to a bar with her boyfriend, yet you don't blame him. Instead, you blame me. Are you trying to prove that nice guys finish last? If I hadn't saved her back, then would I have avoided all this trouble? I'm the victim here. Ask yourself, if I were your son, would you want me being harassed by this kind of girl? The line went quiet for a moment, as if she knew she had no ground to stand on, then softened her tone. Annie, knows you've had it rough these years. How about this? I'll add another $1 million if you come back to keep Chloe company. Just take pity on me. She's my only daughter. Seeing her lying there barely breathing, it breaks my heart. I didn't respond to her, but instead mimicked her tone, matching her exaggerated manner. To fulfill her whims these years, I could only sleep 2 or 3 hours each night before she'd wake me to do this, or that surely you don't want to see news of my sudden death affecting Miller Group as stock price. Annie, do you know what this software represents? This is the dream of our entire studio, 12 ambitious young people. Do you really think this can be bought for a mere $1 million? Now that your daughter has ruined it, we're all heartbroken. Perhaps Annie should first give me an explanation about Chloe Miller slandering and defaming our studio online. For by the time Chloe Miller woke up, I happened to be peeling an orange by her hospital bed. She froze for a moment, her eyes instantly lighting up like a fragile, white porcelain vase. But the next second, the moment she opened her mouth, you want to slap her twice. Ethan Carter, who gave you the nerve to block me? Do you believe me when I say the next time you don't answer my call, you'll only see my corpse? None of my damn business. Anyway, I already settled the deal with Mrs. Miller. This would be my last visit to Chloe Miller, and the secret agreement was void. If it weren't for Annie specifically warning me not to be too aggressive, afraid Chloe Miller might do something drastic, I would gone straight to the point. Without even glancing at her outstretched hand, I popped the peeled orange segment straight into my own mouth. The explosion of sweet sour flavor filled my mouth as I picked up another orange and placed it in her palm. Who exactly are you threatening by killing yourself? Only people who love you, and that category doesn't include me. I hope you can pull yourself together and think about others too. If you want to peel it yourself, actually after the contract, and I thought about this issue. At the very beginning, both Annie and I just wanted to help Chloe Miller come out of her autistic tendencies with good intentions. But how did she end up going to the other extreme? Was this approach wrong from the very beginning? Endless indulgence will only make her vain and snobbish. That fleeting sense of satisfaction not only failed to save her, but also turned her into the insufferable brat she is now. I looked up just as the orange hit me square on the bridge of my nose. It was soft, so it didn't hurt much. But Chloe Miller had already started losing it. She began pounding the bed, furiously glaring at me. Peel it yourself. Is this how you comfort someone? Ethan Carter. You used to look down on me because I was fat, I know. Now that I've become beautiful, you come chasing after me again. You should know your place. You're just my lapdog. You have to be on call 24/7 revolving around me alone. Chloe Miller wasn't exactly beautiful now, but her fair and delicate features coupled with her modest wealth always attracted a few opportunists who fawned over her. That inferiority complex, inflated to extremes by later praise, turned into arrogance and conceit. She consciously blocked out her original self. That Chloe Miller, who though overweight was kind-hearted. I remember her furtively stuffing imported snacks and sports drinks in my desk before scurrying away awkwardly. She even wrote me a love letter. I saw it and once seriously considered it. But later, I caught her acting like a delinquent, slapping my desk mate across the face all because the girl was too thirsty and had asked me for 2 sips of water, drinking it without touching the bottle to her lips. She thought the girl had a crush on me and was deliberately seducing me, so she bribed a bunch of other girls to bully her. I don't know who turned her into this, but the person she is now is too obsessive, too terrifying. Just like now, Chloe Miller's delicate face twisted in rage, as if she had finally found the person who murdered her father years ago, screaming at me and endlessly listing all my wrongdoings. She said I wasn't tall enough, handsome enough, sincere enough towards her. Nothing about me was good enough. But what did I do wrong, even if I was naive before and thought about saving this woman? I'm exhausted now and finally sober. Truth be told, most of the time, it's already hard enough just to manage oneself well. All my sympathy for Chloe Miller has been completely drained by her. I leisurely peeled the orange she threw me, put in my mouth, then grabbed the entire bag of oranges. If you're not going to eat them, then I'll take them with me. Chloe Miller, I only promised your mother to come see you, not to marry you. What I do is none of your business. 5. After visiting the hospital, I posted a statement clarifying that I was only paid by her mother to be an on-call playmate, and that she had always referred to me as a lapdog to her friends with no romantic involvement whatsoever. In other words, I simply chose to resign decisively after my employment period ended. Online comments were naturally mixed. Some accused me of taking money without providing after-sales service. Others said a good former employer should stay as quiet as an ex, while some expressed curiosity about my salary. But I ignored them all after posting my statement. I poured all my energy into the subsequent development of the software. I even changed my phone number outright to avoid those mutual friends. As a result, Chloe Miller couldn't reach me, so she brought people to break into our office by force. When our staff came to work the next day, all the computers had been smashed by her, and even the network cables were cut. Chloe Miller sat in the center like a star, surrounded by admirers crossing her legs as she looked at me. So you left me just to do this, huh? Now you have nothing left, Ethan Carter. Since my mom hired you to play with me, you better keep playing with me. I don't care why you came into my life, but from the moment you saved me that year, you were destined to belong to me. Damn it, you're insane. I couldn't take it anymore and lashed out without mercy. So you're telling me I should have just let you die in that murky river back then? Chloe Miller froze for a moment, then suddenly began trembling all over, tears streaming down her face in shaky sobs. Just as I started reflecting on whether my words had been too harsh, she began screaming at the top of her lungs again. Ethan Carter, you bastard, are you even human? I've been so good to you, and you want me to die. You want to get away with this? You want to get away with this? Hit him, break his legs. Even if I have to tie him up, I'll keep him by my side. The few people originally surrounding her immediately charged toward me upon hearing her words. But I had 12 employees on my side. Those indulgent in wine and women were subdued by us first instead. Chloe Miller saw this and tried to rush forward when I was off guard, but was blocked by a female employee beside me. A crisp slap rang out, and the girl's face swelled red almost instantly. Sophia Reed, I knew it. Was you shameless bitch? I treated you to meals, bought you clothes, and you stole my man. And you even incited others to cyberbully me. Do you believe I can have you gang raped? The moment these words were spoken, everyone's eyes widened in shock, unable to believe such words could come from a woman's mouth. I immediately stepped forward, pulling Sophia behind me, and warily eyeing Chloe Miller. Yet her eyes reddened, looking utterly aggrieved. You're protecting her. Do you even know what a scheming bitch she is? Sophia's family sells pork. She eats my food, uses my things, and then turns around to sleep with my man. Why shouldn't I teach her a lesson? First of all, I'm not her man. Secondly, Sophia and I have a completely clean relationship, nothing but a pure superior subordinate dynamic. I obviously couldn't allow her to spout such nonsense. Just as I was about to speak up and stop her, Sophia popped out from behind me again. Chloe Miller, when will you ever change your self-righteous ways? Those clothes and bags, I've told you countless times I don't need them. Yet you insist on giving them to me in front of crowds just to prove what a beautiful, kind soul you are, and I couldn't refuse without seeming rude. So I had to accept them. Have you ever seen me wear them? Since then, every time I had them donated to charity and transfer the money to your account, all this time, Haven T, you noticed the balance in your account. Or is it that since it only ever increased, you never bothered to check? That's right, my family doesn't just sell pork. We also run a food processing business. I've never been short of money all this time. You've been spreading rumors at school about me reeking of pork, and I've tolerated it. Do you know why? Because of your mother. Every single time your mother would come to apologize to me and beg me not to hold it against you. Chloe Miller, you're 22 years old, not 2. Can you stop living in your own little world? Right now, this instant apologize, restore every inch of the studio to its original state, or else a lawyer's letter detailing your slander and destruction of property will be sent straight to Miller Group. Go ahead and test whether your family's consultants are better than our legal team at bankrupting you. Chloe Miller's face turned ashen as she muttered in disbelief. But soon, as if remembering something, she led everyone away together. After a brief silence, someone was the first to speak up. Sophia, don't forget about us when you make it big. 6. No one expected that our tiny little studio would be hiding a rich second-generation heiress. Sophia felt a bit embarrassed and treated us to a high-end seafood buffet where we unexpectedly ran into Jack Anderson. With a new female companion in his arms, he swaggered over to us. Well, if it isn't Ethan Carter, the ultimate lapdog, and Sophia, too, how did you two end up together? No wonder you kept defending Ethan Carter at every turn. So you've taken a liking to this guy, huh? Just the two of you sure you can afford the bill later? How about calling me Big Brother nicely, and I'll pay for you? As he spoke, he reached out to grope FIA's face, but I immediately grabbed his wrist. Before he relied on Chloe Miller's backing to order me around constantly, and I endured it all. But now Big Bro's done. Serving time, Jack Anderson. Are you a chicken or a dog hanging around Chloe Miller? So much you've forgotten what you really are. Perhaps due to childhood trauma from being mocked by her social circle, Chloe Miller's boyfriends were mostly from modest backgrounds. Jack Anderson was a prime example, originally relying on school grants with classmates, taking turns treating him to meals. But after attaching himself to Chloe Miller, he began living lavishly while looking down on those same classmates. For such an ungrateful person, there's no need to show any kindness. Just as I was about to punch him, Sophia suddenly leaned in and whispered something in my ear. The scent from her body suddenly hit my nose, light, pleasant, not like perfume at all. Snapping back to reality, I saw Sophia flash a playful smile before turning her gaze back to Jack Anderson. Sure, we still have 10 people grabbing food. The total comes to $1,800 care to pay for me now. Oh, no way, don't tell me you can't afford it. How about you call me Grandma and we'll call it even. Chloe Miller only gave him about $1,000 in pocket money each month. Jack Anderson knew she changed boyfriends quickly and feared asking for more would make her lose interest. When Sophia quoted such a high figure, his face instantly turned green. The girl beside him glanced between him and Sophia, unable to suppress a laugh. Senior, don't tell me you're broke while trying to pick up girls. What a damn shame. Thought you'd made a fortune tagging along with Chloe Miller. After saying this, probably afraid Jack Anderson would make her foot the bill, she turned and left immediately. Jack Anderson instantly gave chase, shouting about how she'd already eaten the meal. What about the private cinema they agreed to visit? Unfortunately, we had no intention of letting him leave. Sophia smiled sweetly like a gorgeous-looking man eating flour. You haven't call me Grandma yet, or should we say tonight's entire bill will be covered by young Master Jack. Jack Anderson flushed crimson and reluctantly uttered the word Grandma. But Sophia had no intention of letting him off so easily. Can't hear you. If you're going to say it, you'll kneel while saying it. Grandma's good grandson, kowtow properly, and I'll give you pocket money. No sooner had the words been spoken than I kicked Jack Anderson square in the kneecap. With a thud, he slipped to the ground and desperately cried out, Grandma. Our employees had already returned with their food trays, forming a circle to watch the spectacle. Seeing this scene, they all burst into laughter, even taking out their phones to record, which infuriated Jack Anderson so much that he fled in panic. Sophia curled her lips and suddenly sighed, what a shame he didn't even kowtow. I happen to have 2 coins in my pocket, perfect to toss to him. But we'd better eat quickly. With Jack Anderson gone, Chloe Miller will probably come charging over any minute now, she said, looking at me with a hint of sympathy in her eyes. Though I don't know why you provoked her, Chloe Miller is indeed very different toward you. 7. Sophia was wrong about this. There's a saying circulating in school, boyfriends come and go like flowing water, but Ethan Carter remains the ever-loyal lapdog. Chloe Miller changes men faster than most people change clothes, the shortest lasting just one night, the longest barely a month and a half. Someone like Jack Anderson, who lasted over 40 days, was already considered quite favored. The reason for his favor was his ability to cooperate with Chloe Miller, joining her in mocking and belittling me. Taking pleasure in others' suffering, these two were truly cut from the same rotten cloth. Sure enough, the moment we stepped out, after paying, Chloe Miller's sports car was already waiting at the entrance. Jack Anderson was sitting in the passenger seat, and Sophia saw him politely extending her hand in greeting. Back again, grandson. Did you forget to kowtow to Grandma earlier, and now you're here to make up for it? I looked at Sophia in surprise. She usually didn't speak much, but when she did, her words cut deep. Sure enough, Jack Anderson's face turned crimson with anger as he began to complain furiously. Chloe Sophia has gone completely mad. I just told her not to get too close to that poodle, but she wouldn't stop and even threatened to spread rumors about me cheating with other girls. After all the kindness we've shown her, she is truly an ungrateful wretch. Chloe Miller probably hasn't told him about Sophia's true identity yet. She stepped out of the car and walked straight up to me, not even sparing Jack Anderson a single glance. Ethan Carter, as long as you come with me, I can let bygones be bygones. If you don't like it, I won't belittle you anymore, and I won't look for new boyfriends either. I can even marry you, give you $50,000 every month, as long as you stay obediently by my side. I can give you anything. I couldn't help but scoff, amused by her earnest tone. Why does she think I'd be willing to be her kept man and even feel grateful for the privilege? To this day, she still hasn't learned to respect others. I took a deep breath and was about to say something when suddenly Sophia leaned over and wrapped her arm around mine. Darling, she is only giving you $50,000. How stingy. Although I'm just a humble pork butcher without much money, I'd gladly give my darling $1 million. Why, she even glared at me. So mean, unlike me, who only knows how to cherish you, darling. Sophia did it on purpose. She put on an affected voice, spoke with sarcasm, her face naturally carrying an air of mockery. But Sophia was originally the school's belle, looking like a perfect blend of Anne Hathaway and Scarlett Johansson. Even without any celebrity pretense, she was stunningly beautiful. From my angle, I could clearly see Jack Anderson's expression shift from stunned to awestruck, and finally to furious. I felt like I'd go crazy if this lasted even one more second. With a slight curl of my lips, I obligingly pulled her into my embrace. Getting paid $2 million to pamper her, but I'd pay to pamper you. Chloe Miller rushed over trying to separate us, but Sophia was quick-witted too, taking the chance to burrow deeper into my arms, her voice turning even more saccharine. What are you doing trying to hit someone? I'm so scared. How can the young miss be so unreasonable? You're neither family, nor friends, nor lovers with dear Ethan. Why can't he have a girlfriend? The already spoiled Miss Miller had her eyes reddened by Sophia's taunts, yet she stubbornly remained rooted to the spot, staring intently at me. Ethan Carter, do you really like her? If you liked her, why did you mess with me in the first place? You're right, I might as well have died in that river. It was your choice to be the good person, your choice to save me, so you should take responsibility for me. How dare you give me hope only to push me back into hell again? Chloe Miller was utterly impossible to reason with, clinging stubbornly to one belief. That since I had intervened in her life back then, I was obligated to see it through to the end. Even the police were left speechless by her reasoning when they arrived and simply escorted her away. It said that Chloe Miller didn't notify Mrs. Miller until late that night. After leaving me, Mrs. Miller seemed to have aged decades in just a few days, completely drained of vitality. This time, facing Sophia's dominance, Mrs. Miller wiped her tears and promised to send Chloe Miller abroad for the best psychological treatment available. She vowed never to let her return to harass us again. As compensation for our studio's losses, the Miller Group paid $1 million hush fee and agreed to collaborate with us, being the first to purchase and integrate our software, essentially paving the way for us. As for Jack Anderson, no one paid him any attention. Having lost Chloe Miller as his cash cow, he returned to living beyond his means, having already alienated all the classmates who had helped him. He couldn't even afford meals now. Since everyone had witnessed his extravagant spending habits, his financial aid was revoked, and he soon dropped out in disgrace. Rumor has it that after returning home, he became a bouncer at some joint while trying to pick up girls. He crossed paths with someone dangerous who broke his third leg. My relationship with Sophia seemed to have leveled up because of this farce. She would naturally hold my hand when crossing the street, then casually link arms with me. When I gave her a puzzled look, she'd just flash a mischievous smile. What is the matter? We've already hugged. Can't we even hold hands now? Don't be such a prude, you're a grown man. At lunchtime in the studio, she'd come call for me. Two of the colleagues around us would always exchange knowing smiles and tactfully make themselves scarce. Until that day when my family mentioned arranging a blind date for me, Miss Sophia finally couldn't hold back anymore. With reddened eyes, she pointed at me and accused, "You scoundrel, you've hugged me, you've kissed me, and yet you won't take responsibility." I couldn't help but laugh at her words, responding almost instinctively. "Don't talk nonsense. When did we ever kiss?" The next second, something fragrant and soft brushed against my lips. Sophia quickly stepped back and began pretending to wipe away tears again. "Look, still won't admit it, scumbag," I understood. A man should take the initiative, so this time it was my turn to step forward, hold the back of her head, and share a second kiss. Later, she rolled her eyes, complaining that I was too dense. She had been waiting for me to confess my feelings, but if she didn't speak up soon, she was afraid I might actually go on blind dates and get married. I laughed too, pulling her into my arms and patting her back to comfort her. Yeah, my girlfriend is very brave, so she gets rewarded with a handsome and promising boyfriend. Every time this happens, Sophia would laughingly call me narcissistic, then bury her flushed face in my chest, finding the most comfortable position to snuggle into. Until one day, while strolling down the street, we ran into her parents who had come to visit our city. Their gaze lingered on our intertwined hands for a moment before they let out a heavy snort of disapproval. Daughters do grow up and leave home, eventually never coming back, just holed up in that tiny studio all day. Sophia pouted and squeezed my hand tighter. Dad, our studio, isn't small, at all we've already expanded to 30 people now. 30 people, and you're satisfied? How unambitious. With that, Mr. Sue glared at me fiercely, then added, but for a fresh college graduate, it's actually not bad. Make time to have Sophia bring you home for a meal. We can discuss investment matters. 9. Sophia, as parents, were remarkably open-minded, though unhappy that I'd taken their precious daughter away. They sincerely supported me and offered considerable guidance in business development. By the second year, the company's operations had reached new heights, and by the third year, we already owned our own standalone office building. Chloe Miller came to Sophia and my wedding. She had grown terribly thin, her cheeks deeply sunk in the moment she appeared. She stared at me with a vacant gaze, her lips parting slightly, only to let out a sigh before placing a thick envelope on the table. This is money I saved from working part-time jobs. Ethan Carter, I've learned to respect people now, but it seems too late. With that, she turned her head and glanced at Sophia. Her voice suddenly carried a few mournful notes. Sophia, when did you first start noticing Ethan Carter? Was it because of me? If I hadn't acted so capriciously back then, you two wouldn't have gotten together, would you? Sophia remained silent for a moment before nodding under her gaze. She patted Chloe Miller's shoulder, her voice very gentle. Ethan told me he was nice to you back then because you were sick. I didn't want to upset you, but at that time, it was really because you kept calling him over to us repeatedly that I started wanting to get to know him. Back then, I kept wondering, why doesn't he ever get angry? Someone so emotionally stable must be secretly taking sedatives, I thought. And then later, I gradually developed feelings and wanted to understand him better. Chloe Miller broke down. She covered her face, sitting on the ground, and sobbing uncontrollably, drawing the attention of everyone around her. But she couldn't care less, choking back tears as she repeated the words over and over. I'm sorry, my doctor said it was me, that I pushed you away little by little. Ethan Carter, if I could have just been normal back then, not so paranoid, we might have had a chance, right? If I'd been willing to go see the doctor properly back, then you would have stayed by my side and helped me through it. I cut her off and kissed Sophia right in front of her. The only reason I didn't kick you out today is because my wife allowed you to stay. But as for you, all I can say is thank you for bringing Sophia and me together. I saved her, so I owe her nothing. Later, when she humiliated me, Mrs. Miller paid me. That settled the score. Let us not have any more interactions. I heard that Chloe Miller didn't touch a single dish that day, just sat there watching us and crying the whole time. She said she only wanted to prove that I loved her. So why did everything go wrong? My roommate, an employee, sat beside me and delivered the final blow. He said, "Are you okay, sis?" Ethan Carter made it perfectly clear he never loved you. What's there to prove? But none of us cared about her feelings. Sophia and I stood on stage, gazing deeply into each other, as eyes earnestly and passionately answering the efficient as questions. Yes, I do. 10 years later, I heard Chloe Miller committed suicide abroad. Annie will tell her you went overseas. I just wanted her to be more cheerful back then. I never expected. Countless people at the airport saw her collapse, foaming at the mouth, screaming for an ambulance, but they couldn't save her. She had even prepared a will long ago, leaving all the money in her bank account to me. As for me, I simply handed over that money to Mrs. Miller. In this entire story, the most pitiful one was this woman. Because of her neglect towards Chloe Miller in childhood, she spent most of her life trying to cure her daughter, only to lose her in the end. Her hair turned completely white upon receiving news of Chloe Miller's death, her eyes hollow as she stared out the window. Ethan, you must blame me too, don't you? I could have stopped her, but I didn't dare. She had finally managed to interact with others. I was afraid one wrong move would make her revert to how she used to be. So I could only pretend not to see letting Chloe bully you. This is all my retribution, all my karma. She covered her face with both hands, crying hysterically as she haltingly recounted her hardships. Chloe Miller's father had an affair when she was very young. He even wanted Mrs. Miller to leave with nothing for her daughter's sake. Mrs. Miller orchestrated an accident and from then on struggled alone to raise her. But in her efforts to support the family, she neglected Chloe Miller, causing Chloe to become that way. Later, in trying to restore Chloe Miller to normalcy, she spoiled her to another extreme. One wrong step led to another. Mrs. Miller handed over the Miller Group to us, then turned herself in. On my first day in office, Sophia came to see me carrying a lunchbox. "Boss, are you looking for a female secretary? When there's work, the secretary handles it. When there's no work, you know what I mean." I covered her mouth and dragged her into the office. Yes, we're hiring button up your clothes and leave your resume. Forget being a secretary. How about being the boss's wife instead? The end.